He's starting to heat up.
Yeah, just to get back to the Bush at bat with the bases loaded. Sure. You know, even though he had walked 3, I mean, he's a guy who has a reputation of being able to make pitches and throw strikes. So I don't want Michael to be passive in that situation. If he gets a pitch he thinks he can do something with.
Great play by Valdez. To first, bang, bang. He's out.
That's, you know, not to say that it would have been a horrible idea for Michael to, you know, take a strike in that plate appearance. I mean, I think either way. What you don't want to do is the guy go up there and swing at a pitch out of the zone. Now we got some issues. Justin Kelly not happy with the Lance Barrett strike zone here this afternoon. Looks like DK's been run. The Cubs dugout.
Nope. Yeah. Nope.
Strike call.
Oh, that's a good pitch.
And hearing it from the dugout is Adrian Johnson. Mike Schilt has been barking at him quite a bit tonight. All fired up.
Yeah.
Fernando strikes out. 2 down in the inning, and Fernando's going to say some stuff and get tossed. Adrian Johnson sends him out. Mike Schultz not far behind him as he's coming out. And now Mike Schultz going to throw his stuff, and he is really going to let him have it. Already had earlier.
I'm not a lip reader, but whoa. Classic example of Mike Schilt. We know what he's all about, sticking up for his players.
So Fernando gets ejected. Mike Schilt was ejected. We're going to look at these last 2.
There's the changeup that lights up 83.
Dunn goes. Pitch called a strike. Throw down. He is out.
Oh,
boy. Reds are going to challenge. Might as well.
He got him. Reds aren't going to win that one.
And Terry Francona is striding out for specific. Oh, I wonder if he's asking about obstruction. So the helmet at first blocks the glove, but clearly then the glove gets done while he's off the bag. But I think the question. Oh,
he just threw Colin Cowgill out of the ballgame. But you could see that Ozzie Albies dropped his knee on top of the bag, and that is part of the new rules that we have looked at throughout baseball here in the last few years. You can't drop that knee in front of the bag.
That was a major point of emphasis and rigorously enforced last year. The Reds have been on the wrong side of that being overlooked this year. They had a challenge that was upheld when there was an obvious full cleat in front of the bag. And I got to think, you know, Francona's fighting for any chance to win this game. I mean, the Reds saw letter of the law on the ball being in play when a poor kid's arm blew up. Well, letter of the law, his knee's down in front of the bag.
And it was in front of the bag. The knee was in front of the bag, even though the rest of the back of his leg was on top of the bag.
Alan Porter, our crew chief.
Cincinnati is challenging the out call.
Now, if it's simply the out call, he's going to be out.
Yeah,
because
he's going to be out. And I don't really know that if you can challenge the blocking of the bag, but he definitely dropped the knee, and the knee was in front of the bag. So if we're going by letter of the law, as you mentioned earlier,
and
that knee is on the dirt in front of the bag.
And then even as Dunn tries to get around with his outstretched right hand and claw onto the rear corner, the spike of Albies is on top of and in front of that corner of the bag. I think the tag might have come first before that portion of it, but the knee's down in front of it too. So, I mean, you're going to say that it's an inside the park home run for Olsen because that's what the rule book says. Well, if the rule book says if his knee's down in front of there, it's a steal, then it should be a steal. I mean, to me, the spirit of the law would far more lean toward a poor kid who, just suffered a tragic injury and the emotional, understandable human reaction of the kids on the field. Here we go.
Call the field stand. Runner is out.
Whatever. Why even have challenges? Oh, Francona might get run here too. And he might as well. I mean,
he's right.
And he's going right back after Alex McKay, second base umpire. Now it looks like Taylor Rogers is coming on to pitch. We're going to step aside. Terry Francona is still in this game, even though he was out there for an extra bit while we went to break.
But you can't review the blocking of the bag. Michael Harris coming to the play, but you got a lefty on lefty matchup.
A protracted talk here between Francona and crew chief third base umpire Alan Porter. A little odd to see this happening during the inning.
I think what Alan Porter was saying is you were thrown out of the ball game.
So Freddie Benavides is now steering the ship.
Here's the ninth. It is taken for ball 4. And Arizona grabs the lead.
Goes with that sweeper, and I think he fooled everybody. He got the top of the zone right there and did not get the call.
Top of the 7th on tap. This happened between innings. There was a discussion between Jeremy Rehak, the home plate umpire. Mark Pryor, the pitching coach for the Dodgers, was animated, involved. He was out of the top step, and then Doc came to the first base line and had an intentional discussion with Rehak as well. So frustrating last few innings for the Dodgers. So this was Rehak ejecting Mark Pryor. So the Dodger pitching coach has been thrown out of this game.
And trying to strand a pair of Rays. Runner goes. It's low. Throw to second base. They've got him in a rundown. Terang now will throw to third. And the tag is in time at third base. James Hoy, the third base umpire. And what is the call? Are they calling obstruction on Durbin? Or are they calling him out? They're calling obstruction, and they are awarding home to the runner at third, Christopher Morel.
This is unfortunate, to say the least.
And totally a judgment call. You cannot review it.
You can see Durbin is, I mean, he is straddling the bag. I mean, you can see why he does make the call. You got to kind of give him a lane. To slide into, but
remember, this happened on the last homestand, and there goes Pat Murphy. In Caleb Durbin's defense, the throw is coming from Bryce Terang. It's coming from a totally different angle than it would be coming from home plate, as Ricky Weeks is trying to defuse the situation. That's such a tough play for Durbin to try and get out of the running lane.
letting him have it.
The game's on the line too.
Yeah.
It's the second time in a week that's happened to the Brewers as well. That obstruction call. Remember, it happened on Hoskins over at first base on a back pick. And now Murph is letting the home plate umpire DJ Rayburn have a piece too. That's frustrating.
Right.
As Murph fires his hat.
Right.
Because the Brewers executed that to perfection.
Yeah, take a look at this as Terang throws it over to Durbin, and yeah, see Morel just slides into the foot. And straddling the bag, a judgment call by the umpire. He calls it obstruction right away, and then he's awarded home.
Matt Olson homered in the third inning. 431 feet. His seventh.
Outside.
And barking from the Pirate bench.
Not gonna listen to it anymore. No more. Done.
So he's not going to listen to it anymore.
Hey, go ahead, Donnie.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Here comes Donnie. Somebody just got tossed. How about Don Kelly? Well, we're going to search the record books. The last time a manager got tossed in his second big league game, and he's going to let Clint Vondrack have it. I think it's possible that somebody else got tossed initially. Maybe, I don't know, might have been Rebello. We'll have to find out, but there's no way you wouldn't think that Kelly's not tossed, and the fans love it.
I love it, Greg.
He's going to hand the lineup card to somebody. He's just going to kind of throw it on the table. You guys take it.
Well, Greg,
Taking a look. I think, I don't know. I guess it was Don Kelly that got tossed.
Well, Greg, we know how.
How about that?
I know how passionate Donnie is, and there's one thing I know is he's going to stick up for his guys. So I assume we're talking about balls and strikes, or maybe he threw out the wrong guy. Clint Vondrack did, but Donnie's going to stick up for what's right.
That is wild.
Two 2-1 is there. It's a strike. Somebody downstairs just said that ball's out. And Adrian Johnson. Oh boy. Here we go. 3 straight hitters. That is now the second most famous hat toss in this city to Mary Tyler Moore.
Koss down to the count 0-2 as a pinch hitter. Did he go? Yes, he did, according to DeJesus. Wow, that was close. But called a swing, 1 out.
Yeah, I'd have to get another look. For the naked eye, it looked like it's a more of a no swing, but DeJesus saw it differently. Let's see from over here. That's about 50-50, so
Bob Melvin he might get tossed out here. He's running out to argue with Ramon DeJesus.
coming over. Jones just taking it. All right, he said his piece. He's not going to get tossed.
Okay.
And you like to see that, you know, or Koss, you know, his first season in the big leagues. You want to stand up for him on those tough calls. And to the naked eye, it really didn't look like he went. A little in the super slow-mo, it was a maybe. But
Koss is trying to pass some info on to Coulomb.
He is 1 for 2 today. And the sinker there, called strike 3. As Taylor did not like the call and had some words for Bill Miller.
This is bottom of the zone. You can see that that's his version of a change.
That one a little lower.
Yeah, even if you're a pitcher's ump, that one was way out of the zone. And here comes Will, and I think he was given the boot. I think Bill Miller.
Or maybe it was Marcus Timms, because Marcus Timms and someone else has now been ejected.
I think both. I think both. We'll see. Well, Marcus trying to protect his hitters. You can understand that. And Will was trying to protect Marcus. Yeah, Will was thrown out. No, I think they've both been thrown out.
Two.
So it appears it was a 2-for-1 Mother's Day special, because you saw Marcus trying to protect his hitters, Will trying to protect Marcus, and both will watch from the confines of the locker room or the office.
Munoz gets the call. Low fastball against Dominguez. There's strike 3.
Wagner behind the plate has been really inconsistent.
And Aaron Boone's been ejected. The night's frustrations probably built up on both sides.
Well, I can understand Aaron Boone being frustrated with that call. That was down. Wagner's missed a lot of calls tonight.
Boone emptying out the bag. Dominguez called out on strikes, 2 away here in the 9th. Let's take another look.
You can see it's down out of the zone. And below the knees. Even Raleigh, I think, thought it was a ball.
Dominguez is as reserved as they come, too.
Wagner getting it into your full.
It's been a marathon afternoon here. And another at-bat ends in a strikeout. And Laureano has just been ejected from the game for slamming down his helmet. James Hoyt tossed him. Brandon Hyde will come out after Ramon has said his piece, but the bat throw and then the helmet spike is going to get you run pretty much every time. He didn't like the call. Just ask him.
Grounded fair to third. Gino with a long throw, and Pavin able to keep it in front. And Koss stumbled across the bag. He's injured and tagged out. That will end the inning, but Koss is really shaken up down there. He could not get back to the second base bag. Pavin Smith through to Jordan Lawler covering. And we have a collision around the bag. Ooh. Yeah, Lawler was standing there. And Koss, I guess, didn't see him.
Bob Melvin, I'm sure, is going to argue obstruction right there.
And they're going to get together and have a conversation about this. And he's got a legitimate point. Diamondbacks are coming off the field. Koss seems to be okay. Fielders are prohibited from impeding or hindering a runner's path to the base while not in possession of the ball or in the act of fielding the ball. That's the definition of type 1 obstruction. Now Lawler's going over to cover the bag. He's got his back to Koss, and Koss just had nowhere to go.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but I think that's a bad on Jordan Lawler right there. You got to get out of the way. You have to realize what happens on the play. He went to the bag anticipating a force play there from Gino, but Gino instead went across the diamond, and as soon as you see that throw, you've got to get out of the way.
This is a subjective judgment call by the umpires. It is not subject to review.
Well, and the second base umpire today is Edwin Jimenez, who has done the D-backs no favors in this series.
And yeah, I think they're gonna keep this inning going here. Torey Lovullo's coming out to talk to Mark Ripperger, the crew chief, as the first base umpire. And I mean, that sure looked like the very definition of obstruction. It cost them not only an out, but an out to end the inning. Diamondbacks are coming back out from the dugout, back onto the field.
Yeah. Boy, listen, that tough one. That's going to put 2 runners on base for Wilmer Flores.
Now there are 2 types of obstruction type 1 and type 2. This looks like a case of type 2 where there's not a play being made on the obstructed runner. The obstruction can happen away from the ball, and that's type 2 obstruction, and that's a judgment call by the umpires, and they can award the bases as they see fit. You let the play progress until its natural conclusion and then impose the penalties that they see fit to nullify the act of obstruction. The ball, in the meantime, remains in play. Now, that ended quickly when Koss was tagged out, but no play was being made on the obstructed runner. This is type 2 obstruction, and the inning is going to continue. And Torey Lovullo has been ejected. Torey Lovullo pointing at all 4 umpires. He's throwing them all out of the game. And he is hot. Mark Ripperger is pleading his case. Torey, what do you want us to do? That's obstruction. But Torey's making a counterpoint. Now he's been thrown out of the game. Now the umpires with obstruction can award the bases as they see fit. It looks like they've put Koss at third base and Ramos at second, which puts the tying run into scoring position here. And the batter is going to be the RBI man, Wilmer Flores.
Bob Melvin, Matt Williams still pleading their case over at third base. I'm not sure exactly what more they can want here.
If the runner is called out advancing to next base and the play is not close, they can decide that he can get the next base, which appears to what's happened here. Now Jeff Banish is going to take over. I'm not sure what Bob Melvin might be trying to score the run here.
It looks like they sent him back to first and second. I think that's what Mel's arguing.
Yep, they had him they had Koss standing at third. Now he's been moved back to second. Ramos was standing at second. He's going back to first. So that's Melvin's argument. But the umpires have clearly called obstruction, and you can understand why. Lawler was directly in the path of the runner. He was not attempting to field the ball. The play was away from the ball, which is type 2 obstruction. And so here we are. The Giants have the tying runs on base, 2 outs, and Wilmer Flores will be the batter.
Well, if they move those runners to second and third, Bannister might get thrown out.
3-2.
They got the check swing that time.
Wow. Now the bases are loaded.
I thought he swung.
Someone just got thrown out.
Yeah. I thought he swung.
John Lipka has thrown somebody out of the game. I guess it's Donnie Kelly.
Well, that was a quick hook, I'll tell you that.
I mean, what could he have said that got him? Wow. Well, Donnie Kelly, John Lipka says, you're out of this game, and that's the second time already that he's been ejected.
Watch the swing. Look how far the bat went out.
That's usually called a swing.
Yeah.
I could read lips. She said, you go back to the clubhouse, kind sir. And that's what I'll have to do now.
I don't like that.
Ryan Thompson yelling at both Stu Sherwater and Jordan Baker. Now the dugout will get involved here. Here comes Torey Lovello. I think they might have called a disengagement. And Jordan Baker is the crew chief on this Mark Carlson crew. He's the acting crew chief. But Stu Sherwater was over there barking at Ryan Thompson from first base. And Thompson's going to go over and confront Stu Sherwater now. And all 4 umpires will get together. What is going on here? Dan Merzel has his back to you. He's the second base umpire. Well, we've got 35,129 that would like to know what's going on as well. This is the point where some of these ambiguous situations comes up, and baseball's done a wonderful job of announcing to the paying customers what's happening on the field, but we might not get an announcement here, and I think everybody would like to get one.
Yeah, and Ryan Thompson's walking over close to Torey Lovello. You don't want to do that. They'll call that a trip to the mound.
Yeah. Well, whatever they decided, we're all going to be left in the dark because they won't tell us, which is unfortunate.
They have made great advances in that regard, but in a situation like this, when all 4 umpires huddle up and you get no explanation about anything. So we'll just carry on here. All we can do is guess that had something to do with this engagement.
Yeah, and you could clearly see Sue Sherwater at first base when he held out both hands with the number 2 out there, indicating 2 disengagements on the mound. And Ryan Thompson wanted to know, where were they?
Here we go again. Jordan Baker is yelling at Ryan Thompson, let it go. And now he's yelling that at the Diamondback dugout.
Come on, you rabbit.
Jeff Bannister's chiming in, and he's got the hand, and he's been ejected.
Come on now.
Here comes Banny. Ryan Thompson was turning around and saying something to Dan Merzel, the second base umpire, who may have initiated all that mishegas before. And Jordan Baker screamed at the Diamondback pitcher, let it go. And that's when the dugout had to get involved.
Well, I don't think it's the umpire's job to coach up the other team. Coach up the team, period.
And I think that's the point that Banny is making right here. Merzel, the second base umpire, is a new hire. And you've got a AAA umpire on this crew as well, Charlie Ramos, who's at third. And Jordan Baker trying to be as diplomatic as he can with Torrey. But it looked like all that started when Ryan turned around to say something to Merzel at second, and that's when Jordan Baker jumped on him and said, hey, let it go. And now Banny is on his way to the clubhouse.
Paredes, what do you know? He took a pitch. And minor.
Wow, that's a low zone.
Well, so yeah, I think at this point, Now that we just got our first ejection.
Got him.
Now I've had the sense the last couple of days that Joe Espada was this close, as my mom used to say, and he's just finally blew. And Nick Marley said, I've heard enough.
Yeah, the foundation was laid by the Texas Rangers disagreeing with similar calls, and now Joe Espada's asking him to clean it up. But this is probably as much fire as I've seen from Joe Espada in his managerial career with the Astros. He was fired up, and he was going to go out there and protect some of his hitters. Isaac Paredes is one of those guys that goes out there and sees a lot of pitches and is very discreet in the pitches he swings at. Joe, recognizing that early in the game, said, I'm not going to have it. Nick Marley said, I ain't going to have it. Early fire.
Well, listen, you don't get a full night's sleep, you can get a little cranky.
Yeah, hey, agitation starts early sometimes.
So Espada ejected for the 6th time in his young career.
Every play is what it is. It doesn't matter the game situation. Blanco goes on first movement, and Ray throws over, and Blanco is going to be out.
So that puts the pressure on that throw right there.
Matt Quatrero might be arguing, and he just got ejected by second base umpire Jordan Baker. And he might be arguing blocking second base. This is not a reviewable play because for whatever reason, there are rules, or blocking home plate can be reviewed. Blocking the bases cannot, because it falls under the umbrella of obstruction. So this is the best that Q can do, is go out and argue this play.
All right. You are not allowed to do that. Put your knee in front of the base. That's called dropping the gate. And so he had no other choice but to go around him.
And the key being a knee on the ground in front of the base before he had the ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Interesting. I was just going to say, it puts the pressure on the throw from Casey Schmidt, the first baseman. He made a good throw, and it was down low. And they changed the rule this year for that particular play right there. You can't do that. And I don't understand why it wasn't called.
with St. Louis, now a Yankee. Here's the 3-2. Checked his swing, or did he? He did. And Goldschmidt takes the walk, and that's one of the things that marked his career, his ability to accept walks.
But we'll see the check swing here, and it's the right call. He didn't go.
That was pretty good. Just a little low. 2-1.
Well, that caught the bottom of the zone, and there's some chirping in the Rangers dugout. They do not like that call, especially after last inning Semien. Ball off the plate was called a strike.
Boch and Torres getting after it there a little bit. This one lined into right field. That's a base hit for Grisham. Goldschmidt will stop at second base. Webb just off the outside corner. 1-1.
That was close. Could have been called a strike. There we go.
Yep, there goes Boch. He's just been tossed. And he'll come out to make sure that Torres heard exactly what he was trying to communicate. Carlos Torres, our plate umpire. Here comes a future Hall of Fame manager. Yankees fans trying to get involved in the conversation themselves. But Boch, this has been a long time coming. He was a little hot the other day in that Houston series, but unfortunately for him, he couldn't get thrown out before Joe Espada got thrown out by the Astros.
Yeah.
There have been some dubious ball strike umpires lately.
Well, and that's, I believe, the third missed ball on Aaron Judge in this game. And, you know, I believe that one, it was borderline, but I think an edge of the ball caught the zone. It's really close.
One way or the other, he executed exactly what he wanted to do.
But also very frustrating is Semien got a call 2 inches off the plate that they called strike and caused Semien eventually to strike out with the bases loaded.
It's foul off, strike 2 on Aaron Judge. Two far out pitches, I think is what he said.
And a miss there just off the plate. And another full count. Walker didn't like it.
Tries to get him with a fastball up and away.
Bad year. Runner goes. Here's the throw down. Here's the tag. And safe. Lindor with the theft gets into scoring position. And a count 2-0 on Soto.
7th of the year. Narvaez, see somebody going, standing up and going and getting it. Helps with that quick release.
Buehler getting after it with Estabrook, the home plate umpire. Narvaez out there to push it back, and he's thrown him out of the game. Estabrook has run the Red Sox starter. Walker Buehler has been thrown out. And Cora out now.
The problem is that pitcher, Estabrook called it a ball. It was right down the middle. I mentioned Narvaez kind of stands up, you know, to make a better throw, but Estabrook can't see it. That ball's right down the middle. I didn't realize he called it a ball. He did. Buehler had a problem with it, but I'll say this. Walker, I know he's emotional. He's a veteran. He's been around. You can't get thrown out here in this third inning.
Cora has been run too.
Just pitchers, you've been through an awful lot. Where do you go now? Newcomb can't go. He's your long guy. You're in a bad spot.
He fired up Alex Cora, returning to the club after taking last night off to see his daughter graduate Boston College. He wasn't in the game very long. That means Ramon Vasquez will take over for the second night in a row. As Alex Cora has been tossed out, Estabrook gets the pitcher and the manager. So some early fireworks here from Mike Estabrook.
Well, first off, look at this pitch. That's a ball. It's right there. And Buehler's wondering, like, it's a strike, right? And he wants the ball. He's going to go back and say that was a strike, right? 2-0. Now, when it's 2-0, there's some words, because, I mean, that was clearly a strike.
He's telling him get back on the mound.
The problem I have here with Estabrook, okay, like Walker Buehler said something to him when he's on the dirt, but when the mask comes off and you're very confrontational.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Very.
Like Walker Buehler's been in the league a while. You know you missed a pitch. He has something to say for you from the rubber, that's fine. But when the mask comes off and you're aggressively coming at him, it's very combative.
Oh.
And you're escalating it.
That hit the bat? I guess it did hit the bat. Or did it hit? What did it hit? A swinging strikeout. So it hit the batter, but the batter was considered to have swung the bat.
Right. The ball's tracking in. Look at it. And boy, it almost got the knob of that bat, too. You can make that.
Right, the question is, if it was a foul ball, then it doesn't matter. But it's ruled a hit by, it would have been a hit by pitch, but he went around on the swing.
Well, and I think that Diaz is saying, look, it hit the butt end of my bat. Maybe got a piece of his hand, too, though.
The Reds have exited the field. If I'm not mistaken, that is reviewable, right? To if it was a hit by pitch or not. Because if it comes back having ruled that it was a foul ball hit the bat, then that overrides what they ended up calling. So we'll see if there's any substitute. Here's Alan Porter. And Kevin Cash is saying, wait a minute, why are you reviewing something that was ruled to have been a strikeout? So they're going to explain it to Kevin before they let everybody else know. And the fact that there's likely going to be a review.
Oh, here it is. Again, tracking in. Check the bottom of that bat. The knob end.
The way it bounced off, I got to think it's a foul ball.
That's, I mean, did it get any part of the hand? It's not like he's choked up on the bat, and it's clear. His hand is down there, too. But the vast majority of that baseball hit the knob of the bat.
He goes, Jim, I understand that. And you can, from his body language, figure out exactly what Kevin's argument is. He said the first base umpire ruled that he went with a swing. It's Rodney Linares also coming out, the bench coach, to be with Kevin Cash and hear the explanation, and that's the Astros side of it. A lengthy argument for Kevin Cash, and Ucetta's walking back onto the field, knowing that he may have to throw a few more pitches. He needs to warm. And Kevin's thrown out for the first time this season. First ejection of the year for Rays manager Kevin Cash. And that's as hot as you'll see Kevin get.
Might as well get your money's worth.
Well, I can't think of too many times that he has been this fired up.
No.
In 11 years.
No, he's livid. Livid.
Kevin had a brief argument yesterday, but this one's certainly more. And he's not done yet. He's coming back onto the field. And Jim Wolf is coming to meet him, and Rodney's trying to protect him.
Houston is challenging the
that the batter was not hit by the pitch.
You know, there are managers out there that routinely do this. Kevin does not routinely do this. This is a genuine feeling from the Rays manager.
Well, he went out there on a fact-finding mission.
Right.
And he did not hear anything that he liked. That ball tracking in, again, the knob of the bat. Getting a piece of the hand, perhaps, the knob and maybe a little bit of both. And that ball, the way it comes off, it got a lot of the bat, but it could have gotten the hand too. And they said right there, they peeled down, they said that he went. Said the magic word.
Yes, he did.
Or magic words.
Several.
After review, the call on the field stands. The batter was hit by the pitch, offered at it. The batter is out. Houston used their challenge.
So in the end, it ends up working out for the Rays anyway. Yeah. It ends up being what would have been a hit by pitch, and he went around with the swing, so that's a strikeout. And now Espada's going to come out. It's really nothing that he can argue about. He got what he wanted. He got the review. This is a look at what happened. It ruled a hit by pitch, but he went around with the swing, so he struck out.
Yeah, he grazed that hand, and that absolutely is a reviewable play.
And Kevin Cash and Alan Porter and Jim Wolf were all getting into it. And the first time that Kevin's been ejected from a game this season and came back out a second time.
Done. Was not done.
You take us back to that time, high school, playing baseball in Vegas, especially when that became kind of the center of the baseball universe.
Yeah, we definitely had a bunch of years in a row with some first rounders, but I was lucky enough to, play with Bryce in high school and be around his greatness. It creates a good community, the ability to test yourself against some of the best, but yeah, it's good to be, proud of where you come from and see all these Vegas guys have success in the big leagues.
That call on Herrera, a break for the Diamondbacks, as Herrera's out on strikes. Here's Burleson. Your team offensively is really fun to watch, and it looks like someone's been thrown out.
Hey, Ollie
Hopefully
Marmol
it's
just
not
got.
Eric. I don't think Eric said anything.
Now Ollie just got tossed out. Ron Kolpa, we talked about, he's from St. Louis.
Well, it's a good thing that Eric wasn't sitting next to Ollie, because we may have heard something that we probably would have regretted. He's getting his money's worth here.
Eric, does that fire you up when you see a manager get into it like that?
Hell yeah, we love that.
Strong arms with Marsh and Castellanos in center and right. Saw Marsh's arm on full display last night. Play at the plate. Davidson tagging from third on a Rooker busted bat, fly ball out. Wilson is on second.
Mark Kotsay has been asked to leave the ball game, and he's going to find out why.
And I think there might have been a little finger pointing there.
Oh, yeah.
And Mark felt disrespected. And he's going to head to the clubhouse. What happened here?
Well, follow, right? That's a strike. And it's about.
Yep. And he said, don't point your finger at me. Here's the walk back to the clubhouse. of a standing ovation in the left field foul seats. You know, he's worked tirelessly night in and night out to try and get a win for the Athletics. He pushed all of the right buttons last night, and still the A's came up short. Tensions were boiling, emotions were high, and this was the moment where he got ejected. Now the A's will look to build off of the fire. And sometimes that can be the spark. 0-2 to Miguel. The zone opened up, and Miguel is frustrated now.
Well, you see that? You see the finger wave right there, the left side of your screen? And that was the disrespect. And then he tries to tell him that's enough, but you've already sort of treated him like a juvenile.
0-2, and Andujar swings and misses, and now Andujar is ejected. And Miguel has quite a bit to say, and Darren Bush comes out to get him back into the dugout. And emotions are very, very high. The tension is building here today. 2 ejections, cuts, and now Andujar, 3-3 through 7.
Strike 3 call. Cal Raleigh's single is stranded. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. To Randy Arozarena, and something that has never happened in the baseball career of Dan Wilson as a player or in his short early career as a manager. Dan Wilson has been ejected from this game.
Wow. He's fired up too. We were just, what, a couple days ago, we were talking about Dan Wilson. I was asking Dave Buhner, have you ever seen this?
You know what, man? I have. Heater after he got Baez with 2 strikes. He got him with a curveball last at bat.
And right there he does the same. That's called strike 3. It was below the zone. And the crowd is reacting negatively. So is Javi with Phil Cuzzy. Here comes A.J. Hinch to try and help his player. And they're going to, you know, A.J. was a step away from getting out there. And Phil Cuzzy runs Javi Baez, and A.J. is trying to block Javi because he is incensed. Joey Cora's out there as well. Javi Baez is incensed. I don't know what was said, but Javi is livid. A.J. Hinch was 1 step away from the plate when Phil Cuzzy threw out Javi Baez, and Javi's going to leave this game. That ball was low, and if we learned anything from Alex Cora and his ejection the other day, the first thing he said was, "Wait for me," to Mike Estabrook at Fenway Park. And I'm sure that's what A.J. Hinch is thinking as well. Let me get out there and try to protect my guy at least.
No doubt about it. I mean, anytime a guy gets a quick run, you know, when Javi went back for seconds, that's when they always try to get you.
That's right.
But that ball was low. You can have your first course with an umpire. They'll hear you out for a second. But when you go back for seconds and you start jawing, right there, that's going to be normal protocol. You know, hey, come on, that ball's down. You know it was down. It's when he turns back around. Watch right there, that last time.
Yeah.
That's when the umpires usually say,
yeah,
nah.
it's not a strike. And he says, "Come on, Phil.
Come on, Phil, wait for me. You know you got to wait for me, Phil."
Javi was irate, and Joey Cora did everything to keep him away, and Gleyber Torres too.
1-2 pitch. That's downstairs. Oh no. Oh no. Oh boy. Strike 3 called, and Young retired 2 in the 6th inning. Move it to the 7th inning. Now this is how that last half inning just ended, with a pitch well below the zone. Young called out on strikes. That was just so frustrating for the team that has struggled here. And then Will Little, hearing it from the Rangers bench, ejected somebody. Let's see who that was.
Oh, wow. Now that just that is so frustrating.
I mean, if you're Bailey, he hit a ball great. He takes a great pitch. It's definitely a ball. Gets rung up on a correct decision. You just feel absolutely crippled when they do that to you because you did the right thing and you got punished for it. And that was a no-doubter ball. That wasn't even borderline.
Man, close. Called a ball. You saw Bailey, and now the Giants are barking.
That's it. You know what?
Oh, here we go. Bob Melvin just got kicked out of the game.
And this is exactly what he needs to let him know. You know, you're going to call him on us. You got to call him both ways. You can't just be ringing our guys up and sticking up for the guys. It matters. And Bob is feeling it. You can tell this is real. This is no act. This is coming from the heart. Ooh. Let him know.
Yeah, fight for your guys. I think. I mean, it's the frustration of the week. It's the strike zone tonight. It's the strike 3 call to Bailey that everybody knows was not strike 3. And that's ball 4 to Torres. So that's a leadoff walk to start the bottom of the 5th. This was Patrick.
And Bailey came up to him and had a discussion about something and kept it calm, and looks like he's saying that it's off, and he's just, now you get.
Bottom of the zone, strike 3. Everything up till the final pitch. And McLean is not happy. Terry Francona trying to back up his player, now coming out of the dugout. And the low strike has been so hard all game. Hunter Green got burned on it. And it looks like he's tossed somebody. And Terry Francona's been tossed. Is that Nick Martinez? It looked like that had come off the rail. Well, the bottom of the strike zone has been non-existent here tonight. And that's all fine and good, but don't change it now. Right. Is that a strike? Most days, yes. Yeah. But most of the game, it hadn't been. It has not been. What's a strike in the first should be a strike in the 9th and everything in between. And I think the Reds have every right to be upset there.
Strike 3 called, and J.P. Crawford saying that's not a strike. And he's got to watch out. He's got to watch out, and he just got tossed. And he's getting his money's worth now. We have never seen J.P. Crawford this hot. Well, he's not wrong, but the problem is the Mariners could really use him.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it right here. This ball is clearly off the plate. Gore goes with the fastball. That ball's probably 3 to 4 inches off of the plate as he gets rung up. JP not happy.
And that's more than a baseball's width off the plate.
Oh, no. That was ball 4. That could decide the game. And Donnie Kelly is going to give it to Edwin Jimenez. Henry Davis dropped the bat. He thought he had just brought in the tying run, and he was right. And Jimenez is a call-up umpire from the minor leagues working the plate today, and he has missed a few of them. And now Andy Fletcher is going to step in. And they let Donnie have a say.
And it's clearly a ball. It's so unfortunate in that spot right there. And Donnie, again, sticking up for his guys. You'd love to see it, but it certainly doesn't change the fact that that swings the game monumentally going into the 9th inning.
Well, it looks like maybe that is definitely has fired up the Pirates, that's for sure, as it stays the Padres in the lead.
Runner goes. They've got him. Tell you what, he was hustling up to the second base bag. Durbin, I think, felt like he got his hand in there on the swim move.
And I think they just called a balk.
Oh, did they really?
It was the third base umpire called a balk, I believe.
Yeah, Luzardo's not happy about it. Yeah, they did call a balk. Ruben's right. They're saying that his foot crossed his leg, which means he has to then go to the plate instead of dropping down and going to first. Right there. See how it went down, Ruben?
Yeah, but he didn't cross the rubber.
I'm with you.
And he did not. Honestly,
I'm thinking
the angle that the umpire has
that's
here,
exactly it.
He thinks that he stepped towards home plate. Now, the first base umpire has a much, much better look at that than the third base umpire. And how he calls it is the reason why right now that Rob Thompson's really angry.
Oh, see, I think the third base umpire thought that he crossed his leg and then came down.
Nope.
Okay.
And that's the first base umpire's job. That's not the
agree.
third base umpire's job.
See, right. Ready? No, maybe even there you couldn't see. You're right. I don't know. I think you're right. If they said he was coming home, that's not right.
It should be the call of the first base umpire. He has the better angle on the play, and for him not to call it and the third base umpire to call it is just not right.
Maybe the little hesitation is what they're saying, but I mean.
Well, that's exactly what Rob Thompson's asking.
Yeah.
Why in the world is this guy making the call and not the first base coach umpire?
And Rob's thrown out.
He has every right to be angry about this situation because that's not the third base umpire's call.
Well, I mean, I guess any of them can call it, umpire-wise, right?
I understand that, but
Yeah.
if he stepped towards home plate, then the umpire at home plate should make that call, not the guy at third base.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you said, is that he stepped toward home plate.
To go down the hatch.
They want you to know that you're chewing legs, insect legs.
It was tasty though, but not something I ever thought I would put in my mouth, but it happened. Thank you for this incredible spread.
Amazing hospitality from the Mariners people. You are going to crush during the break. Luzardo is keeping up the mantle for these bullpen arms that have just smoked the competition on both sides. See, he's chewing too. We have an argument. Carlos Correa is screaming at Austin Jones. Rocco Baldelli is fired up, and he gets ejected.
Did he throw out Correa?
He did. And look out. Tommy Watkins just came sprinting in. Austin Jones is getting an earful from Rocco Baldelli. Carlos Correa was ejected from the on-deck circle. What are you doing, says Rocco Baldelli with a couple words in between. I got nothing to say to you if I'm reading lips. That was a borderline pitch. Correa was incensed after whatever happened here. Austin Jones calls time on behalf of the batter, and then Correa has a word with Jones, who immediately throws him out, and Rocco Baldelli's already out of the dugout. and then he gets ejected.
It looked to me like Correa was trying to get the umpire to not be staring at his teammate.